Chapter 62. In the middle of the Watchtower's meeting room, the full Justice League was assembled as they watched the hottest news that already had billions of views in the course of merely a single week. In the course of not even 6 hours, all villain-based crime across the world has seemingly halted as the new anti-hero that has been labeled Carnage slaughtered the entire prison population of Belle Reve and unearthed the sadistic plans that prison warden Amanda Waller was in the midst of creating a villain task force to use across the world to promote America's interests. More than one hero who was foreign to America had their faces tightened as they were all too aware of how such villains would be used to harm the infrastructure of other nations. The black-haired beautiful news anchor then pulled up a warehouse camera's point of view and the news anchor spoke. Here in this footage of an Italian mafia storehouse holding tens of millions of dollars in drugs and weapons, we can see Carnage kill all of the gang members, and then he actually went into the back, grabbed the recording and posted it online with the hashtag #NoForgiveness. While the actual video of the massacre is blurred in order for the network not to get shut down. Lois Lane said with a weak smile, but even she shivered at the screams and a literal sound of flesh being ripped apart which would haunt the dreams of anyone listening. Is Carnage's methods necessary? Will the Justice League bring their wayward member back home or put in jail? Let's get some listeners' opinions. Lois Lane spoke before with a loud click. The network connected to the caller. Hello Miss Barnaby. What is your opinion on the carnage the aforementioned Carnage has brought upon the world? Miss Barnaby coughed, and all the League members could hear that it was a rather old woman speaking. I send Carnage my every prayer as he is doing God's work. I have lived in Gotham for my entire 93 years of life, but I hate this city. I hate it to my very old bones. The psychos that freely roamed the city killed everyone I love. I had great-grandkids, you know, but the Joker decided to gas their preschool, and my sweeties died with that horrible, twisted grin his victims always wear. Miss Barnaby ranted before she broke out into a series of thickly congested coughing. Excuse me. But I myself was subject to the Joker gas, but I managed to survive. Now I beg of the world listening in, don't demean the young man as someone only causing destruction or as you said carnage. Myself and all my neighbors within Gotham are calling him Raquel for finally saving the city and allowing us to confidently walk on the streets and not worry about being killed. Miss Barnaby said, and Lois Lane hummed in thought as the once great-grandmother was disconnected. Well, will the government name of Carnage be overturned in favor of the name Raquel, which is the name of the angel of justice? Lois Lane spoke before she transitioned to taking on a couple more callers, but with a clatter, the news program was silenced, and the remote Batman used was dropped on the table, filling the room with a dead quiet. Lord left me a letter about future threats to the world, and with his ability to see the past, present and future at will in great detail, I trust the information, and I also believe that Lord can be brought back from his rampage once we solve the looming threat that has sent him off the rails. Batman spoke with as everyone understood that as a prophet of sorts with great power, it was understandable for Lord to go off the rails once everyone was enlightened as to the reality of all children. That were infants and most toddlers would die in the cataclysm of the world splitting. And how do you plan on doing so? Even he cannot find the hidden base this light group is hiding within under powerful magical defenses. Green Arrow replied with Dr. Fate, who was possessing Giovanni Zatara, folding his arms over his glowing chest, nodding. Even with my power, I cannot divine the location of this light group despite knowing it's in the Antarctic region. Dr. Fate confirmed, earning frowns from the majority of the League. The most pressing question is how we will subdue Jake to try to talk to him. I mean, the kid is nowhere near as fast as me, but I can't run between dimensions. Should he just open a portal and dip out of a confrontation should the League amass on him? Flash said with Wonder Woman covering her face as Lord going off the rails did hurt her standing in the League, as some worried that her other protege Wonder Girl was going to be an issue as well. So, has any news of Galatea been found yet? Superman asked awkwardly, as the young woman was still sort of her daughter even if neither of them accepted or were interested in such a relationship, but Superman had been making strides to getting closer to Superboy, so he felt like he needed to say something. Galatea still hasn't been seen since Jake picked her up at the mountain, and while there is no recorded proof of Galatea helping Jake in his cleansing of the criminal element, we are cautiously optimistic that she is trying to keep Jake from going after innocence in his quest to find the light. Wonder Woman said to defend her other once-time protege. Batman drummed his armored-gloved fingers across the tungsten table that was made to survive someone like Superman, and Wonder Woman slapping it in a fit of emotions before the man stood up from his seat. I am heading back to Gotham to stand guard over Arkham Asylum, if Lord desires to cleanse all the villains of the world, well after Belle Reve, Such a target in the asylum is too enticing, Batman said as he stomped out of the room and took a Zeta teleporter out back to his city, not listening to the other League members who attempted to ask if he needed help.